Hello, welcome back to Mining Network. We're at the mining investment event of the North in Quebec City, and I'm joined by Peter Hardie, the CFO of Equinox Gold. Peter, good to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here, Peter.
Let's just really briefly, a bit of background on the company. What's your market cap, your ticker, where are the projects, that sort of thing?
Sure. So Equinox Gold, we have a market cap that's just north of 2 billion Canadian. Our ticker symbol is EQX. The company has come together very quickly in the past 3 years under the leadership of Ross Beaty. And just happy to be here, happy to be a part of it.
Good. Let's always like to touch on management background. I feel like it's a very important subject for investors who are looking in, obviously. What can you tell us about your background and how did you get involved with the project?
Sure, I'm an accountant. I left public accounting in 2005 and have been working almost exclusively in gold mining since, working for companies that have built and operated mines. I joined the team that is currently leading Equinox about in 2016. We worked together at a previous company.
Let's run through the project portfolio. So obviously you've got quite a lot of operating mines and you've got some in construction and you've got a few coming through the development pipeline. Maybe you could just touch on those and run us through the whole portfolio.
We have 6 operating mines, one in commissioning and one in construction. Starting in the north, we have a large gold mine being built in Canada, in the Greenstone mine in northern Ontario. It's a big build, 1.3 billion US is the budget. Construction should be completed towards the end of 2023, with commissioning to follow. And once it's up and running in the first few years, it'll do about 400,000 ounces a year.
Wow.
And we own 60% of that project. We're building it with our partner Orion Mine Finance. Working our way into the US, we have 2 operating mines there. The larger of the 2 is the Mesquite mine. It's down in Southern California. It does about 130,000 ounces a year. We acquired it in 2018. It had 2 to 3 years of mine life left and 3 to 4 years of residual leach. We've been adding to the mine life. It still has about 2 to 3 years of mine life left with that residual leach to follow. And we're proud of being able to continue to operate that mine and look forward to finding more ore for it to continue to operate. We also have the Castle Mountain mine. It's a smaller scale mine, the smallest in our portfolio, also in California in San Bernardino County, which is the mining county, we like to call it. It does about 25 to 30,000 ounces a year. We've submitted an amendment for the permit to increase the mine capacity there up to about 200,000 ounces a year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we think that permit will probably take about 3 years to approve, somewhere between 2 and 3 years. In Mexico, we have the Los Filos mine. It's a mine complex of 3 open pit and 3 underground mines. It's currently doing 160, our guidance for this year is 160 to 180,000 ounces. And the goal there is to expand the mine as well in time. But we will wait to finish our investment in Ontario before we do that. We've also had some community issues at Los Filos that we want to make sure are settled prior to doing more investment there. And then in Brazil, we have 3 operating mines, as well as our mine that's just completed construction. It poured the Santa Luz mine. It poured gold at the end of March and is currently in commissioning.
Awesome. And what's your guidance looking for in 2022, and could you maybe compare that to last year?
For this year, we expect our guidance is 625 to just over 700,000 ounces. That's significantly more than last year, but as I mentioned, we're a very quickly growing company. We really came together when Ross Beaty became the chair in 2018. The Mesquite mine that I mentioned earlier was our first operating asset. That year we did 20,000 ounces. We've grown through acquisition and are now focused on growing through development of the assets I just mentioned. So yeah, our production year on year has stepped up immensely since 2018.
And I saw in your presentation you're looking to achieve eventually 1 million ounces per annum.
Yeah.
What's the pathway to get there, and what's the timeline looking like?
Yeah, so we have those, call them 3 to 4 main development assets that will help us get there over and above incrementally where we currently are. The first one to really come online the soonest would be Santa Luz, as it's in commissioning, and we look forward to it achieving commercial production here in the near future. Mm-hmm. And that'll add about 110,000 ounces a year. We own 60% of the Greenstone mine, and that will add about 240,000 ounces a year. That will pretty much get us to the 1 million ounce mark. So, call it 2024, 2025 on an annualized basis. we hope to go beyond that, but we'll look to develop the Castle Mountain mine in time, as well as Los Filos, and that will add another, between the two of them, incrementally about 300,000 ounces a year. But there's no magic to the million ounce figure. It's a nice figure. It's easy to latch onto, but there's no real magic to it. We just see that as a sign that we've started to achieve scale, which was our goal when we started.
Would there be any M&A potentially that might be able to help you get there? Is that something that you guys are considering, or is it really just a main focus on your existing project portfolio?
We get asked that question a lot because we've grown through M&A.
Yeah.
And to be totally frank, we weren't necessarily focused on M&A when we acquired the Greenstone mine, but it came along at a time that was right and a price that we felt was fair for us and for Premier, that owned the mine at the time. So we're very focused, heads down on execution. We will look towards M&A once we get through this phase of development. But for now, no, we're not actively pursuing any M&A for the time being.
What's the all-in sustaining cost of all of the operating mines at the moment?
Yeah, great question. Our guidance for the year is mid-1300s to low 1400s on all-in sustaining. It's an investment year. As you can hear from the description of our mines, we're investing in them to help lower those costs as we go forward.
So the idea would be, I guess, once the others are in production, then the all-in sustaining cost should, in theory, come down a little bit.
Yeah, very much so. The Greenstone mine, the feasibility shows that it'll be a bottom quartile producer with respect to cost. So that will have a tremendous effect of bringing the overall cost structure down. Likewise, Santa Luz, it's not as large a producer as Greenstone, but at 110,000 ounces a year for the first few years, also will be lower cost than our current mines that are in production, so that will help to bring things down. And it's a repeated pattern with Los Filos and then eventually Castle Mountain.
Any major shareholders? What's the register looking like, and what's the capital structure within the company at the moment?
Yeah, we're fairly widely held, but our largest shareholder is Ross Beaty, our chairman. The great thing about that is, and quite frankly, we also like to, although we like to joke that as management team members, we perhaps have more of our net worth invested than Ross, but the senior team members have a lot invested in the company as well. And the main idea there, of course, is we make decisions as we are shareholders, and we are well aligned with shareholders to try and deliver value to them. We're funding our development through three primary means. We, of course, have our ongoing cash flow. We have our treasurer cash in the bank at the end of the quarter. We had $300 million in the bank. And then, of course, we have credit facilities that are undrawn that we also look forward to using to fund development. Okay.
So something we're asking everyone at the show is, looking back over the last 12 months, as a management team, are there any milestones in particular that you feel most proud of?
Yeah, that's a great question. We're very heads down on execution. Sometimes we don't think back too much, but yeah, we in the last 12 months, in a COVID environment, we've done the construction at Santa Luz. We started construction at Greenstone, and we also closed the transaction with Premier that brought Greenstone to us. And the other thing we're actually really proud of is we're very community focused with respect to our operations. They're often in remote areas, and overall, because of some very proactive preemptive measures that we took early on in the pandemic, we've had very, very little by way of interruption by COVID at the sites. So we're quite proud of that.
Good. And just looking forward, I guess, next 12 months, what should investors be looking out for? I
think you're going to see us with our heads down. We need to get Greenstone built on time and on budget, and it's doing well so far. But we need to deliver on that. We need to get Santa Luz ramped up and at full commercial production. And I think you're just going to see us executing on our game plan for the next 12 months.
Well, I look forward to viewing it.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.